stay tuned because for the next 60 minutes, Motorsports Unlimited is on the air. Hi, I'm Jerry Bryant, and these are the lovely ladies of motorsports. And all this hour, we're going to have 60 minutes of action-packed excitement. All kinds of exciting things will happen. And we got the famous Bill Wildt, and we got all kinds of other good stuff that's happening all this hour. Motorsports Unlimited, 60 minutes of non-stop action. So let's go to the studio right now.
Thanks, Jerry, and hi, everybody. Welcome to the studio headquarters of Chicagoland's most watched, most talked about Access television series. I'm Samantha Bentley, and this is the 947th edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Today, we're taking you to Crown Point, Indiana for the 29th Annual Regional Streeters Car Show. This car club has been in existence for more than 30 years, and each year their car show has become bigger, better, and glitzier. Glitzier? You'll find out about that later when Bill gets to chat with one of everybody's favorite TV stars. Right now, it's time to meet some of the representatives of the Regional Streeters Car Club on a gorgeous hot day in Northwest Indiana.
There are so many car shows that we cover each year that have become our favorite car shows, and actually each and every one of them for different reasons. The Regional Streeters Car Show, if I remember correctly, this should be about their 28th year, and I'll find out about all that in a moment, is among our favorites for a couple of reasons. Number one, Crown Point, Indiana is one of the prettiest towns that you'll ever see. If you ever get a chance, take a look at their courthouse, which is right downtown. It sort of sets the mood for the entire Crown Point. Very much like it, but it's not just that. These guys also have the most perfect setting for a car show. This is sort of a fairgrounds, and the cars are among the trees and the grass and all that, and it's just a wonderful way to spend a day, and you don't boil out in the sun because of the trees and all that. It's great. So this is one of our favorite shows. We are, in fact, in Crown Point, Indiana, and we've got some officials of the Regional Streeters here, and you are?
Wally Wildt, president of the Regional Streeters.
And how long have you been president?
This is fourth year, I believe.
Okay, because you got to be careful when you miss a meeting. That's what happens.
Oh yeah, well you got to be at all the meetings when you're president. So.
Yeah, well, when you miss one, you'll be the president, and you are.
I'm Dick Cooper. I've been with the club 18 years.
Okay, and your role with the club?
18 years. I'm just a member.
One of the members, one of the guys that actually does the work.
Yeah, we all do the work. All 40 of us do, yeah.
Okay, I got a question. Either guys, before I forget about this, either guy can answer this. What's with the Bulldogs?
That's Crown Point's high school's mascot is a bulldog. So a lot of the towns here in Lake County have gotten different things, ducks and railroad engines. So and they draw the people in the Chamber of Commerce. We were in town last night, and there were just hundreds of people checking out the bulldogs.
It's very cool, folks, and hopefully while we're talking, we're showing you a couple of pictures of this. This is a little bit like Chicago did with the cows several years ago, right?
That's exactly where it started.
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's cool. What do you guys think of that?
Oh, we love it. Yeah, it's great.
53 of them around the square to decorate it.
Are there that many?
Yes, there is, yeah.
It's very, very cool. In fact, I kind of wanted to come back with my motorcycle and kind of get some pictures next to it. All right, enough of the bulldogs. Before I forgot, I wanted to get that in. What are we going to see here today?
You're going to see antique and classic, rod and custom, motorcycles, swap meet, arts and crafts, entertainment. We got Cindy Williams here from Laverne and Shirley.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, plenty to do.
Okay, and something I noticed now, this may have been going on every year, but I just don't remember. There's a swap meet here.
Oh, yeah, right behind you, Bill, there's a big swap meet.
Now, is that every year? Because I never.
Every year, yes.
Why didn't I notice that before?
Probably didn't have as many.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, so that's something that's always part of the Regional Streeters show?
Right, yeah, this is our 29th year.
29th. I'm a year behind. It'll happen to you too when you get to be my age. You'll see. So this is the 20th. So next year is a big deal, 30 years.
Right. This year right now we're going to go over $300,000 that we've been able to give back to charity, people that need help, people helping people. So our club works hard to give all the money back except what it costs for the car show for next year. So anybody out there looking in the area is interested in becoming a member of Regional Streeters, be glad to have them come on.
And how long has the club been around?
Well,
I know the show has been around 29 years, but
it's plus 30, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. So this club's been around a long time. How many members?
Right now, 40.
40 members. You guys must work awful hard at this. I know Don Panic is a guy we talk to all the time, and somehow he has kind of maneuvered you guys to take over some of the load.
It's hard to get a guy to take car show chairman because it's the most difficult job in the club. But we'll start on the show next week for next year.
Okay, it's very, very difficult. Now, anything you want to tell the audience before we get? Do you have a date for next year, maybe?
We always have the first weekend of June, always.
First weekend in June, Crown Point, Indiana, Regional Streeters next year, 2006. Be the 30th year,
Be
right?
a special show.
Special show. All right, anything you want to say before we roll? Because
Thanks for coming down. We appreciate all the support we can get.
okay, and I promise you, I am going to visit whenever we come to Northwest Indiana. I'm always so impressed with the traditional American street rods, but I promise you, I'm not going to do the whole show with just traditional American street rods as much as I like them. I ask all the time, you have any explanation why so many, and owner built? I'm talking about 32 Fords and T-roadsters and all that.
We got better engineers out here in the
must
area
have.
that are building the cars than Detroit's got.
I'm telling you, it is amazing. Northwest Indiana, I don't know what it is, and almost all of them owner built.
It's a blue-collar area, always has been, the steel mills. We got a lot of junkyards around here, by the way,
So you can-
for parts back then, so, it all
Sure, you
adds
bet.
up.
Absolutely.
It all adds up.
Anyhow, folks, Regional Streeters Car Club. Chuck, take your shot over there. Show the audience the name of the club. We're just getting started here today, the 29th Annual Regional Streeters Car Show.
Bill and Chuck were eager to get to the cars. Hi, I'm Patty Borowitz, and the lure of Northwest Indiana's traditional American street rods was heightened when the Regional Streeters Car Club began the day with displaying the American flag, saluting our troops, and the singing of the national anthem. The day got even better when Bill was told there were a couple of Indiana girls with feathers ready to go work with him on the show.
I have just been approached by a couple of lovely ladies that want to know how come I don't have the girls on location anymore, and they want to make themselves available as volunteers. And,
Absolutely.
And you are
Rick Belmonte,
from?
Crown Point, Indiana.
And?
Donna Panic from Crown Point, Indiana.
And now Don Panic, we know about him because he's the guy that if there's a little bit of rain, he doesn't go to a car show. Are you aware of that?
Absolutely. His car melts.
It ruins my dress, Bill, and my makeup.
Anyhow, you guys will remember Don Panic, of course, is one of the leadership of the Regional Streeters, and your role in it.
I was helping Don.
Okay, so you guys decided to get dressed up just to be motorsport girls.
We want to
Absolutely.
be with you, Bill.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to tell you this.
Bill, come on.
It's not going to happen.
I have a heart.
Not exactly what Bill had in mind. It's not just about the feathers, guys. Hi, I'm Janine Lauschat, and believe it or not, those guys stayed in those outfits in 90-degree heat for most of the day. Bill had to say no several times. Now let's check out some cars.
I promised the Regional Streeters that I would not spend the entire program on the traditional American street rods, and I'm not going to, but I'm sure going to start with them because look what I found. Not only do we have a gorgeous traditional American street rod, we have a gorgeous girl with it who was working on it very, very hard when I walked by, and I thought maybe it was her car, but of course, as always, we're going to have to talk to a guy. But first of all, you are.
Mary Tipton,
And where are you from, Mary?
St. John.
You were working on a car very hard. Your car or no?
It's my husband's car.
Do you know anything about it?
A little.
What do you know?
It's a 1935 Dodge.
Very unusual for a traditional American street rod. Do you know that?
No, I did. We don't see many of them around. I know that.
No, about 90% of them would be Fords.
I see a lot of Fords, yes.
Okay, go ahead. What else do you know?
It's the last year the Dodge brothers made a car. Then it changed to Chrysler. Okay.
Why are you looking at him?
I don't know it that well.
Okay, and you are?
Tyler Crosby.
Okay, how old are you, Tyler?
I'm 11.
Are you a car guy?
Yes.
What do you like?
I like the Dodges a lot.
Dodge what?
Chargers.
Okay, I ask this question with youngsters all the time because I want to know what the next generation is dreaming about and thinking about. What are the kind of cars that, and I know it wouldn't be one, it would probably be a half a dozen, what are the kind of cars that kind of light you up?
Hummers, expensive sports cars, stuff like that.
Diablos, things of that nature?
Yeah.
Okay, well they kind of light me up too. Not a bit, but not something like a STI or something, huh?
Those are okay.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Okay, anyway, and you are?
I'm Larry Tipton, the owner of the automobile.
Okay, tell us about it with what your wife didn't tell us.
Well, it's a 1935 Dodge Business Coupe. It's got a 327 Chevy, 750 two-speed automatic turbo transmission, a Eldenbrock 650 carburation, Pete Jackson gear drive, 202 heads, 323 rear end with an extra
By the way, as you're
pause
talking,
traction.
look at your wife's
411.
head. Look at your wife's head as you're talking. Go ahead. She's absolutely mesmerized. Go ahead. Pardon me?
I didn't know he knew that much about it.
It has the original steering in the front end, the axle and everything is original.
Now, did you do any of the work on the car?
Just after we bought it, just upkeep work.
So you bought it as a
type
street
work.
rod then?
Yes, I did. It was originally built in Pennsylvania, near the town of Erie, Pennsylvania, and I came by it through a trade with an individual out of Valparaiso, Indiana, and very well satisfied with the car.
You're not 16 anymore. What would provoke you? And Chuck, if you're not doing so, show the audience a car. What would provoke a person that's not 16 to 18 years old to want a car like this?
Well, when I was a teenager, we built street rods, and it was hard to come by the money to build them. And now that I'm retired and can afford it, I have one, and I'll have what I like. And
Is it as much fun as you thought it would be?
yes, it is. Very definitely.
Now, your wife tells me that this is you're kind of just starting to get involved with the car shows.
More or less, yes.
Just starting to get involved. So let me ask you: is it the same as you thought it would be, or different than you thought it would be?
It's a lot of fun. There are a lot of really nice cars. People put a lot of time and money into these cars, and they're just beautiful.
And my guess would be, and you will forgive me because I try to make these observations, that when it comes to the women coming to the car shows, they seem to like the social aspect of it kind of more than the cars. Is that something you find compelling, or do you like the cars?
I like the cars.
Like the cars.
I appreciate the time and the money people put into them. They're quite a work of art when they're finished.
Now, are you new to this? Is this something your husband kind of dragged you into?
Yes.
Okay, what does a car like this make sense to you? I mean, why would you want to put a big Corvette engine in an old 35 Dodge? I mean, does it make sense at all? It makes sense to this guy, believe me, he knows.
I know. I like the way they sound, and I like riding around in them, and I like the way people look at you when you drive around in them. So yeah,
you got the right idea.
Yeah.
You figured it out already. Anyway, Chuck, show the audience the car. As a matter of fact, make sure the lady is framed up with the car. We don't care about the guys, of course. This is Motorsports Unlimited. Traditional American street rod. Not quite traditional, though.
Not quite traditional in a sense that it's a Dodge instead of a Ford. So let's move to something even more traditional. In fact, the earliest generation of traditional American street rods.
I really shouldn't do this because in my position you really can't play favorites and all the rest of it, but I've got to tell you that if I were going to do a traditional American street rod, it would have to be a T-roadster. I absolutely love these things, and it would have to be one pretty much just like this one. It has the suicide front end, which has the right look that I like. It's also a technically sophisticated car in that it has independent rear suspension. This one is pretty special, and you are?
Bernard Iwan.
And where are you from, Bernard?
Valparaiso.
Tell us about your car.
Built it and started building in 1982. I bought all the parts and actually got on the road in 1980.
You personally built this yourself?
Yes.
Wow, even more impressive. Go ahead.
From scratch, basically. I bought the car from somebody in Gyre that just bought pieces, and he didn't put anything together, and I decided to buy it from him and then reassemble it.
Okay, is there a single part of this car from a Model T Ford?
Absolutely not.
Which I really like, because we don't want to chop up any more antique cars.
Oh, no.
There are none left on this planet, and whatever we've got is all there's going to be. And it's also not necessary. I believe you can do a much better job with aftermarket parts rather than using old, rusty, crystallized frame rails and the rest of it.
Exactly. A lot of the parts I bought, the front brakes are actually from a Carmen Ghia, a 61.
Really?
And I like them because they're nice and small, and when they had them chrome, they look really nice on the car.
Okay, is the car actually usable?
Yes.
Okay, folks, here's what I'm talking about. It is very, very difficult to build a car. Make no mistake about it. When you put something like this together, engineers would normally go through it, just the brakes that he mentioned. They would go through an incredibly complex process of making sure that you had the brakes sized correctly and proportioned correctly and all the rest of it. Now, this one uses a Corvette rear end, so it's got brakes that are really way too big for this car because a Corvette weighs 3,500 pounds. I'm guessing this thing is under 2,000?
About 1,800.
1,800 pounds. So the brakes in the rear are way too big, and the brakes in the front, which does most of the braking, is way too small. Did you take any of that into account when you were building it, or is this here's the way I relate it. The choppers that you see on television all the time now, now these are not really usable motorcycles, and I hope everybody understands that, but they're okay to just kind of go chug, 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 chug down the street and pull into your local drive-in and talk and all that. Same deal here?
No, I can actually...
You can actually use it?
I can drive it out. I got 11,000 miles on it, or better, right now, and when I do hit the brakes, I can lock up all four wheels or stop very quickly.
So
they're balanced out.
You paid some attention to engineering the system correctly?
As close as possible.
Okay, tell us what you're particularly proud of on the car.
Right now, the whole car. But initially, last year I put in a brand new transmission because fuel mileage is kind of bad with just fuel injection and the 373 rear end. And I decided to put a 704 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission in it.
I can't believe you're worried about fuel mileage on it, but go ahead.
Well, 10 gallons of gas doesn't get you too far.
Well, that's right. You don't have much capacity.
No, I've only got a 10-gallon tank, and that's gives you about 200 miles.
Let me just run through this for a moment, folks. I mentioned before it's got a suicide front end, and suicide front end means that the front end of the car, meaning the wheels, the brakes, the axles, is the furthest thing sticking forward. There are no bumpers. You hit something with this thing, you knock the front end off the car. That's why it's called a suicide front end. The frame, while it looks like a Model T frame, is not. It's actually an aftermarket frame that's all fresh materials and all that, so it keeps it safe. Chucky, if you come on over here with me, it has exactly the right look in that it's got the upright windshield, and what I particularly like about it is this is the kind of windshield that you can fold down. If you'll remember my New York motorcycle trip, and I said I encourage others to have that kind of an experience, but not everybody belongs on a motorcycle. This is an ideal vehicle to take a touring trip on America's secondary highway system to really enjoy and be part of the environment and all that. And for those of you that don't want to be on a two-wheeler, this will give you pretty close to the same kind of experience. Very cool. Now, usually on these cars, for a rear end, you're going to find a 9-inch Ford or something like that. Problem with that, and we've talked about this before, I don't want to go into too much detail on it now. Problem with that is it's a very undesirable sprung to unsprung weight ratio. These cars are so light and those rear ends are so heavy that you end up with every time you go over a bump, the rear end kicks the car, and the car doesn't have enough inertia to counteract it, so it gives you a boot in the back every time. This one is particularly well engineered with the Corvette rear suspension, that it has a much more favorable unsprung to sprung weight ratio for a better ride. Also notice he's got the 14-inch deck back here, and this, while this would have been called a pickup back in the times when they were making the Model Ts, believe me, the only thing he's got in there is a fuel tank, and even that isn't very large. Now, if I haven't run through and thumbnailed your car correctly, please fill in the blanks.
Well, you filled in perfectly.
Okay, did you understand what I was talking about a wonderful car for a trip, like a motorcycle trip? Do you ever consider something like that?
I've taken about a 100-mile trip, and it's just about right. That's about all you can take.
Yeah, and you got to do it like a motorcycle. Nice day. You don't even think about putting top up or anything. You just treat it like a motorcycle.
Exactly.
You know? Anyhow, thanks for spending a little time with us. Chuck, show the audience one more time. Show them the car. This is, in my opinion, the beginning of the traditional American street rods.
I think Bill likes the T-roadster so much because they remind him of cars most closely related to motorcycles. Next, Bill spotted two cars parked side by side among the trees, representing the next two generations of traditional American street rods.
If you were into traditional American street rods, this is the next generation. The car that we just looked at, the T-roadster, would have been the first generation of traditional American street rods, followed by what I will call the 32 Ford generation, even though a 30 Ford or a 29 Ford would also be applicable, but I think we all think of the Little Deuce coupes as being the identifier of that genre of cars. And Chuck, if you pull your camera shot back a little bit further, we've got another great traditional American street rod, although now we're getting into a little bit more modern era. From the 32 Ford generation or genre of car, we would go to the fat fendered cars, and I'm not so sure if we would exactly call this one full fat fender. We're going to find out about all that. First of all, it's Motorsports Unlimited. We always talk to the pretty girls first, and you are?
Kathleen Kohlberg.
And where are you from, Kathleen?
Calumet City.
And which car are you hooked up with?
The 37 Ford.
The black one?
The black one.
Can you tell us about it?
I'd rather you talk to my husband about it.
Give us what you know, because I'd much rather talk to the girls than the guys any day of the week. Tell me what you know. You know it's a 37 Ford.
Right.
Okay.
I know it's a 37 Ford.
Now I'm going to see if he did this properly with you. You know it doesn't have a 37 Ford engine, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now what kind of engine? Let me see if he did this right. What kind of engine do you think it has?
400 Chevy engine.
Nope, he didn't teach you right. You always say Corvette engine, and I'll explain why in a second. And you are?
Al Kohlberg.
From?
Calumet City.
Okay, please, this is yours. Tell us about it.
This is a 1937 Ford. Got a 350 small block Chevy engine.
Corvette engine, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, there's a reason. I'm going to explain it in a minute. You guys, apparently they're not familiar with the show. I'm going to explain it, but there's a reason we do it that way.
It's got a Muncie 4-speed in it, early 3-deuce manifold, Mustang rear end, 323 gear. There's a second motor in there. I ran a flat motor in it for 14 years, worked over flat motor. I had the car since 1964. I paid $175 for the car.
Did you do any of the work on it?
Total restoration.
You did it yourself personally?
Yeah,
wow.
A friend of mine painted it, and we had the interior done.
Well, I really like the fact that it's got a manual trans. Far too many of the cars, I shouldn't say far too many because I know they're easier to drive and it's easier to drive on, but it's cool having a manual.
Well, a lot of people told me we couldn't do it, but I was insisting about keeping the pedals on the floor like the original.
Rather than the swinging pedals.
Yes, and that was a problem.
That was a hard engineering job. Probably the clutch linkage was harder than anything.
Yeah, the clutch linkage was the hardest part about it. And I bought it, the car come out of Monon, Indiana, or Schaefer Lake area, and we paid $175 for the car back then in 1964. So, and I'm the second owner on the car.
I'll give you $200, no problem. You make a quick $25 profit. What the heck?
I won't even take you for a ride for $200.
That's what I figured. Now, why do you suppose we say Corvette engine instead of small block Chevy or 350 Chevy or anything? Why do you suppose we say Corvette engine?
I don't know.
Okay, now you're a girl. Does it sound more impressive to your ear if somebody tells you they have a Corvette engine or a small block Chevy?
Corvette engine.
Okay, because Corvette word has panache, no doubt about it. The fact of the matter is, any small block Chevy could have been in a Corvette. Any of them. A 350 could have been in a 327, could have been in a 283, could have been, any one of them could have been in there. So why say a small block Chevy when you can impress the girls and say you got a Corvette engine? Do you get it now?
Yeah, if you want to impress somebody, okay. But to me, it's still a 350.
Okay, well, we got a guy here that doesn't want to impress girls, so make note of it. A new guy in history. And you are?
Andrew Mokritsky.
Don't run away, please. I need your help. And where are you from, Andrew?
Valparaiso, Indiana.
And the red one is yours, Chuck. If you come down there, tell us what we've got.
Okay, we got a 31 Ford with a 350 Corvette engine, if you want to call it.
Okay, now, because you want to impress the girls watching the show. Absolutely.
No, there's only one lady I impressed, my wife, and fortunately, she's not here. Excuse me. It has a 350 transmission with a 9-inch Ford rear end.
Did you do any of the work on it?
No, sorry to say, but the upkeep, though, which is probably just as much as building the car, is trying to keep it spotless.
No, don't back away from it, because quite frankly, yes, I like it when we talk about people that do owner-built cars and all that. That's all fine.
Mm-hmm.
But our community needs people that want these things that maybe they're not mechanical and all that, because it supports the guys that are building these things. So you bet. I'm glad we got lots of folks coming in that really don't want to build a car themselves, because it brings revenue into our sport, you know.
Well, with this kind of investment, I don't have the expertise to go ahead and build something like this. So,
but somewhere there's some 20-year-old working in a garage that does, and he's being rewarded for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wish I had the time to do that when I was young, but unfortunately I took building the family instead.
Okay, that's people take different paths in life, but apparently you have an appreciation for these cars, because you don't get a traditional American street rod unless you're kind of really into cars, I don't think.
Absolutely.
Okay, has it been as much fun as you thought it was going to be?
Oh, more fun than anything.
And what do you like best about it? Is it car shows or cruising? What do you like?
People noticing you, and especially the women. I mean, really.
Now you understand why I said Corvette engine. Now you guys get it? Are you getting it?
And especially the older women. I mean, I get thumbs up, smiles. Hey, what a great car! What a beautiful car!
It's a lot better than having them call the police, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Anyhow, anything I haven't mentioned about your car that you're particularly proud of, you'd like the audience to know about?
Just the way it looks. I mean, it drives great, and I get a lot of compliments on it.
Well, it's hard not to like a traditional American street ride. And how about yourself? Anything I haven't noticed that I should have noticed? Would you call it a full fat fender?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because I don't, this 40 Ford for sure is the quintessential fat fendered era car.
And that's definitely a fat fender car.
Right. So, but 37 you'd put in there too then?
Yeah,
okay.
Positively.
And do you know what we mean by fat fendered?
Yeah.
What?
They got big fenders. They're not real
I always
small and
try to get the
sleek.
girls to do this. I want you to look at the camera, okay? Like that, Chuck. Give us a nice two-shot here, okay? Okay. Now I'm going to show you what to do. Okay. We're going to show the audience what it means to have a fat fendered car. Now look at the. And I want you to do the same thing I do. Now look at me.
I'm not sure I get it, but they all did. I was born more than 40 years after those cars were made, so I think I can be forgiven. Hey, didn't Bill promise the Regional Streeters Car Club he wouldn't just cover traditional American street rods?
I know. I promised. We're not going to do just traditional American street rods, and it is so tempting when you're in Northwest Indiana, because this must be the traditional street rod capital of the world. It has been called to my attention more than a few times that, Bill, you don't do enough of the modern cars, and look what I found. Not just a modern car, but a whole family participating in a beautiful day in Crown Point, Indiana. I don't know if it gets much better than that, and you are?
John Spassky.
From?
Lowell.
Okay, now you know Motorsports Unlimited, so you know that that's the last time I talked to you, and we got a pretty girl. That's who I want to talk to, and you are?
Susan Sapowski.
Okay, also from Lowell?
Yes.
Okay, and these are all yours?
Yes.
And you are?
Danielle Sapowski.
And?
Cameron.
Well, how old are you? You can say, wait a minute. Chuck him in tight. I want to hear you say that last name again.
Cameron Sapowski.
Well, I couldn't say it. Very, very nicely done. Are you into cars?
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of cars do you like?
Trans Ams.
You like Trans Ams because that's what Dad's got?
Yep.
Okay, tell us about your car.
It's a 99 30th anniversary Trans Am. They only made 1,500 of them. 500 of them were convertibles, so it's pretty rare.
Very rare, yes. Now, has that got the LS1 engine?
It's got the LS1 350 motor, the Vet motor.
Smoking motor.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And trans?
It's the turbo 350 or 400. I'm not sure about the Trans that much. It's automatic.
Okay, so you're not a super technical guy.
Somewhat.
Okay, here's my question, because it's actually important. I want to know about this. Not everybody has to be a gearhead like me that wants to actually invent and manufacture the parts to make a car out of it. What do you get out of this going to a car show? Now, it's obvious that you didn't modify the car or anything like that, so you apparently buy it and maintain it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and you bring it to a car show with your whole family. My question is, what do you get out of it? Because we want others to do it too.
It's just fun bringing it out and having people come by that, are Trans Ams, that know about Trans Ams and ask, questions about it. And, it's just nice being out here, enjoying the weather and seeing different cars and have people coming by and asking questions and,
So you like the social aspect of it and also the technical aspect?
Yeah.
And it's not bad being in a park setting like this, is it? I'm telling you, the regional streeters do a great job every year, don't they? They really do. Now, how about yourself? What do you get out of it?
Just spending time with the family.
Okay.
Having a good day with the family.
Now, do you bring out things like picnic lunch or anything like that?
We usually just buy food from the vendors that are here.
Okay, so you're enjoying it?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to try this. I know, how old is the little guy?
4.
4, okay. Do you like cars? What kind of cars?
I'm same as Danielle's.
Same as your sister? Okay, so she's sort of the boss on this? Okay, listen folks, thanks so much. Is there anything I haven't thought to tell the audience about your car that I should? Maybe one of the most kick-butt Trans Ams of all.
Definitely.
That LS1 motor is great.
Well, plus they discontinued them, so.
So now it's even more rare.
Yeah, definitely.
Chuck, forget about him and I. Frame up the ladies here and the little guy with the car. I want it clearly on record. I do some modern cars.
You better show more than one, Bill. And I'm not sure the next one qualifies as a modern car.
I found a story that I absolutely love here. And is he far enough forward, Chuck? Can we see the people? That's all. I want to make sure we get all the folks in. Okay, first of all, you are?
AJ.
AJ what?
Stimac.
Where are you from?
Dyer.
And?
Carol Rydvik from Burnham.
Okay, and how about these little guys? Can they tell us who they are? Who are you?
Sammy.
Okay, and who are you? Whoop.
Justin.
Okay, are you guys car guys? You like cars?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody likes cars?
Yeah.
What boy doesn't like a car? What's interesting about this story, I want you to tell the audience what you just told me.
Since I seen the show on you guys when you did Larry Claypool and all his toys, I fell in love with the Corvairs. My father used to sell them back in the 60s. This one here is a 65 Corvair Monster convertible. It's a 40-year-old car, and I love them. I went out and bought 3 more of them. I got 2 more convertibles and a 2-door hardtop.
Well, the great thing about this story is you were inspired from watching our show, and that's what we're trying to do.
Watching your show. I love your show, the cars that you guys show.
So let me see if I understand this now. Then you were inspired by this. That means she's mad.
No, not at all.
Oh, you're not mad at me?
No, not at all.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about though, right? Okay, anyway, anything you want to tell the audience about the Corvairs that you particularly like? Because you're way too young to have really remembered them.
Actually, it's a unique car with being a Pancake 6 motor. You had the turbo, you had the 110 horse dual carbs, you had the 140 horse with the 4 carbs. I mean, it's just a lot of neat things that you could do with the Corvair, the way it's the first American-made unibody and stuff. I mean, just...
Well, you are an enthusiast now.
Oh, yeah, I love them. I mean, I enjoy them a lot.
Well, I think that's great. And once again, folks, this is really part of what we're trying to accomplish with the program is to inspire folks to go out and get involved with the sport and the hobby. And apparently it's working well for you.
Oh, working real well.
And she's not even mad.
No, I'm not his wife. I'm his friend.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess if you were your wife, you'd be mad. Okay. Anyway, thanks for spending a little time with us. Go right ahead, because I want to have the audience watch you depart. Go right ahead.
Way before my time, but I like it. Surprisingly modern. Now let's see what Bill and Chuck spotted next.
Corvettes have had a remarkable history over the years, and for my money, the pure fun of driving a Corvette would be the 61s and 62s, mainly because my brother had a 61 almost exactly like this one. They were almost identical cars with a 4-speed like this one, and it was one of the most fun cars that I've ever driven. Short, light, quick handling, just a wonderful car. Now, this gentleman obviously doesn't know our show, nor does his wife, because if she thinks I'm going to let her sit back there out of this, she is mistaken. Please, if you would, step on up here, miss. Believe me, I would much rather have you do this than him. We'll get rid of him, not the pretty girls. First of all, you are?
I'm Karen Barman.
And where are you from, Karen?
Crown Point.
And you are?
Ed Barman from Crown Point.
Okay, the last time we talked to you, tell us about your car.
It's a 62 Corvette that we've had for...
Why do your eyes going to him right away? What is this?
For 29 years?
Yes.
29 years.
Okay, tell me about it. Engine, driveline?
I have no idea anything about it.
So I got to talk to him?
Yeah, you got to talk to him.
Okay, tell us about it.
It's just a 327 base, 250 horse, 4-speed, all original as much as I can possibly keep it that way.
And you've had it for 29 years.
Yes.
So you're the guy, the rest of us all say, gee, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of this. Gee, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of that. You're the guy that didn't get rid of them.
That's the exact story I hear all the time. Gee, I used to own one. I wish I'd have kept mine. I said, I kept mine.
Well, I'll tell you something. This particular genre of the Corvette I really liked. The 53s with the 6 cylinders didn't light me up at all. I loved the 57s. I thought they had the lines and everything just about ideal. But then as time went by, the design became a little dated and dual headlights were in. And of all of those cars, I thought the 61 and 62, I thought it looked the best and they were sure fun to drive. Am I telling the way you feel?
I agree with you completely. The 62 was always my favorite. It didn't have the chrome around the coves, but it had the lines and it was really clean. Kind of the most cleanest of all the old
And
ones.
I like the blackness in the grille.
Yes.
It kind of gives it a little more sinister look.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
And you know, out there, people looking, what's he talking about? Isn't it? But but we know.
Yes.
The other thing I always liked about the Corvettes, and I'm sure that your wife, yes, I'm sure you can explain. How does the top come off?
Oh, she can explain that. She helps me with that all the time.
Yeah, unbolt. There's a thing in the front that you take down, and then you take a couple bolts off back here, and you lift it off.
Okay, so you're quite familiar with that.
Oh, yeah, I help them all the time.
Now, on a beautiful day like this, why would you not leave the hardtop home?
I don't know.
We thought it was going to rain. There was
Yeah.
rain in the forecast, and I was afraid that if I left the top off, for sure it would rain.
It probably would have rained, yeah.
And you don't take it off when you're sitting here?
No, we could. We just
but
haven't.
Okay, but that's not something you can do in like a minute and a half, can you?
No, it would take me
you
about 10, 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say, otherwise we'd do it on camera. Anything I haven't noticed about your car or the story about your car that you'd like the audience to know that you might think they would think is interesting?
No, I've done a complete frame-up restoration on it.
You personally did the work?
I do all the own work. I painted it. I do all the mechanical work. I just put a windshield in it myself.
Are you a body man?
Pipe fitter by trade, but I do a lot of mechanical work.
Well, your work is beautiful. You could be a body man.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very nice. And now, do you help at all?
Oh, no.
Oh, she does
No.
too.
I look. I watch.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We've talked about this before. Our sport is a wonderful sport, but if you've got the wrong lady involved with you, it can be miserable. And they don't have to know about gears and wheels and pistons, but if they hand you a rag now and then, you know.
Oh, she's great. She helped me put the windshield on it even, you know. She says that, but she does help me.
No.
Well, somehow I got
It's not that much help.
I have a feeling you have the right lady here.
Thank you. I agree.
I do too. I agree.
Okay, now, and in order to close this, I'll tell you how we're going to do this. You can go ahead and get out of here. We don't need guys anymore. I'm going to step. No. You I need, not him I'm getting rid of. Like this, and I can stand right by the car, maybe a hand on the hip, like that. Chuck, frame it up. This is how you look at a 62 Corvette in Crown Point, Indiana at the Regional Streeters Car Show.
I don't think Bill quite understands the concept of newer modern cars. He thinks a 62 Corvette is a relatively new car and wants credit for showing new stuff. Let's check out another newer car, in Bill's mind.
I don't know if it gets much better than this. An absolutely beautiful day under the shade trees in Crown Point, Indiana, with a 427 Ford Cobra replica that is being presented by, I assume, the local fire department. That's why there's a Dalmatian dog and a beautiful red Cobra. We'll find out about all of this because I probably got it totally screwed up. And you are?
Craig Barton.
Where are you from, Craig?
Hobart Fire Department.
Hobart, that means you're from Hobart?
Yes.
Okay, now I can tell you're from Hobart. You know how I can tell that?
Why?
Because you don't say Hobart. See, I know we do the Hobart's damn car shows all the time, and they taught me that if a local guy says Hobart, not even though you know it's spelled H-O-B-A-R-T, right?
Yes.
But you say Hobart.
Yes.
What do we got here?
We got a 1966 replica Cobra. We're raffling it off for the local local union, Hobart local union. Sorry.
Okay, well, in other words, you're using it as kind of a fundraiser then?
Yes, we are.
All right, what pleases me about this is when we've got community entities that come into the car show world and see a way for their particular part of society to benefit from it, and hopefully this proves out to be successful for you.
Hopefully it does.
Okay, are you familiar with the car technically?
No, I'm not.
Want me to tell you about it?
Sure.
Anyhow, do you know why it does not, I'll guarantee you, it does not have a 427 Ford in it. Do you know that?
No, it doesn't.
Right, I'll guarantee you it doesn't. It probably has a small block Chevy.
Actually, it's got a 420 or 428.
428. Okay, now why do you suppose, though, that people would talk about it as a 427 Cobra?
Don't know.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you real quick. The Cobra was originally a car called an AC Bristol from England. AC was the car company that built the beautiful little aluminum cars, and Bristol was the engine company. Bristol, a British company, went out of business, so they had no engine supplier. At the same time, Carroll Shelby in Europe spotting these cars and saying, you know what, I've got some connections in America. Long story short, ended up getting involved with Ford Motor Company and putting the small block Ford into the original AC Bristol, and they called it a Cobra. Now, the story probably wouldn't have been much if it ended there. What happened, though, a couple of years later, he decided to stuff the fire-breathing side-oiler 427 Ford big guy motor into the thing, but more important, widened the wheel wells. Chuck showed the audience the bulging wheel wells, put the big bulging tires on it. If you look at the haunches, the back, the original Cobra was delicate and light looking. This car looks like a clenched fist, and all because of that. So when they build Cobra replicas, they build 427 replicas, even if they've got small block Chevys in them or anything else, but because of the way the 427 looked. Now, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm sure you wanted to know all that. Anyway, folks, take a look at the car. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something that I'd like you to do. I'd like you to step over there by your dog. Do you guys have a Dalmatian at the firehouse?
No, unfortunately, we're not allowed anymore.
What? You're kidding.
OSHA regulations say we can't have animals just in case anybody's allergic. And
any fire department?
Some places get around it, but we kind of stickler for the rules over here.
You know, I'll tell you something. Someday I'm going to get some OSHA people and kick them right square in the butt. Folks, we don't need to be that safe. If you would, step over by the dog, then it's not really OSHA. Don't get concerned. It's not really a dog. But what we've got here, and Chuck, I want you to frame up the car with the dog and the fireman. This is from the Hobart Fire Department.
Fire departments can't have Dalmatian dogs anymore? How did they get that by? Someday, we'll all be required to wear motorcycle helmets while we're sleeping in case we fall out of bed. Next, Bill spotted a display he really liked, and OSHA would hate.
Folks, sometimes I get real stubborn about things. We were right underneath the speaker, and Chuck, if you pull your camera shot back and point up, the audience can see where the music is coming from, which is directly overhead. We can barely hear each other talk, but I really want this piece. So we're going to do it anyway. First of all, you are?
Jerry McGar, Pro Auto Service in Crown Point.
Okay, and you've got apparently an engine stand here all set up that you can fire up a supercharged Chevy engine, and what? Just run it?
Yeah.
Okay, not a dyno?
No.
Okay, folks, just to give you an idea what you're looking at here, this is the Chevrolet engine part of it. This is the supercharger part of it. That's 2 4-barrel carburetor part of it. And as we've told you so many times on Motorsports Unlimited, the supercharger is nothing more than a big compressor, but boy, does it make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, give us an idea. Let's say the average guy that puts the supercharger on his street car is doing about 3 pounds of boost, which is literally decoration. Fair enough?
Right.
Okay, but by changing pulleys, you can go to 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds. Give the audience an idea. If you start out with a 400 horsepower engine at 3 pounds and you go to 10 pounds, how much power do you make?
17 pounds of boost will double the horsepower of the engine.
So if you went from 3 pounds to 20 pounds,
yeah,
that would double the horsepower?
Yeah.
And if you went to 30 pounds?
Well, you can't run 30 pounds in street trim.
No, I'm talking about for like race cars.
Oh, racing, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the more boost you put in them, the more power it's going to make.
Right up until you've got a top fueler making 6,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's
right.
pretty cool. And just because you put a compressor on the motor.
Right.
Pretty cool. Can you fire it up for us?
Motors run on air and fuel, and the more you pack in them, the more they're going to do.
I've explained so many times on Motorsports Unlimited, there's 3 ways to make an engine make more power. Number one, make it bigger. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay, and it all involves with how much air you can get in and out. You make it bigger, you get more air in and out. You can rev it higher. Gets more in and out, more power, correct?
Correct.
Or you can force the air in.
Right.
And that's what
Forcing it in is a more efficient way to do it.
Yeah, and it's also maybe cooler because they sound so
Yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Go ahead and fire it up.
Get
I want-
lots of eye appeal that way.
You bet. Go ahead and fire it up. I want the audience to hear this.
And when I start it, I'm going to warm it up a little bit and then I'll crack it a couple times.
Absolutely. Don't hurt the bearings, that's for sure. Go right ahead. Watch him, folks. Keep an eye on him. Make sure he knows what he's doing. Although I got a feeling he's done this before.
After a few minutes of warm-up time, Jerry cracked the throttle a couple of times for an appreciative audience.
That's the engine I would like in my Camaro, please. Now, we mentioned earlier that the Regional Streeters Crown Point Car Show has gotten glitzier and glitzier. Here is what we mean.
You never know what you run into at the Regional Streeters Car Show in Crown Point, Indiana. Last year, if you remember, we had Mike Mullner with the car from American Graffiti and the actor. And guess who we've got this year? I don't know if she'll take her sunglasses off, but if you don't, there you go, recognize her. We have all grown up with her, whether she realizes it or not. Tell the folks who you are.
I am Cindy Williams.
No, tell them who you really are.
I'm Shirley Feeney.
That's right. This is from Laverne and Shirley.
That is correct,
and what
Bill.
and what are you doing in Crown Point today?
Well, I'm out here for the Hot Rod Show, and it's fabulous.
You enjoying it?
Yes, yes. Actually, I've come for American Graffiti, representing American Graffiti, and
I see. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, I've got to ask you now. Most people, if you were a professional television interviewer, would ask her about Vernon Shirley and her relationship with Penny Marshall and all the rest of it. But you know, this is Bill Wildt in Motorsports Unlimited, so I'm going to ask her about her most famous movie. Please tell the folks what it was.
Oh, you're not going to ask
Yes,
me that.
yes.
Then you say it. You say it, Bill. Go on, I dare you.
Great American nudie musical. Help me.
First nudie musical.
It was so out of character for you.
Well,
I was shocked.
Gee, you were? That must mean that you
was
watched
shocked.
it, Bill.
No, well, I peeked at it.
You must have seen it.
I watched 4 or 5 minutes, then I
No,
peeked again.
This was made for like $100,000, and this was my friends from college, and we started it before I did Laverne and Shirley, and then Laverne and Shirley became a hit, and then we finished it after Laverne and Shirley. And basically, what it was is my friends from college, who are writers and songwriters, they wanted to do a spoof on pornography because they thought it was ridiculous, which we still think it's ridiculous, and so they wanted to send it up
I sort of
to
liked it.
show how like it or like
No,
the movie.
no,
Okay,
no.
all right. Anyway, so I had one line in the movie that I played the secretary. I was never nude, but I was involved in some scenes that, well, they weren't bad, they were fun, but I did get dubbed by People magazine as Little Miss Filthmouth, and still living that down. But it was all done in fun and to try and diffuse that,
Well, please let me say this. You pulled it off.
Oh, thank
you. It came off cute and sweet. It really did. And it was so out of character. At first I said, what is she doing? And I said, you know what? It's kind of cute. This is sweet the way she's doing it.
Well, thanks. So, I didn't do it. It was my friend Bruce Kimmel did it. And he plays the director in the movie. And as my godmother said, it's risque.
Well said. I have one question that I asked whenever we have an opportunity to talk to people that are in television and all that. Do you have an appreciation for what I assume you just kind of stumbled into the Laverne and Shirley thing, and I imagine it became a major part of your life and probably still is. Do you, plus or minus, are you really happy it happened?
Oh, it's a blessing from God.
I'm so glad you feel that way.
Absolute blessing.
I
mean, it was just so much fun to do, and just everything, every door that it opened for me, and getting to meet people, and it was just a blessing, and still is.
It's so hard for that to happen. That it's whatever magic that and I hope you feel.
I do feel that way. It's a miracle, Bill. A miracle, an American miracle.
Well, let me close with one more thing. She is prettier in person than she is on television.
Oh, Bill, darn you.
Bill said the thing that most struck him about Cindy Williams was what a genuinely nice person she was. She seemed like the kind of person you'd like to have for a friend or neighbor. He was pleasantly surprised. Now let's get back to the cars with something from the 50s.
This is another part of the world of motorsport, and we don't even have a name for this. We went from the traditional American straight rods to the fat-fendered cars and then to the James Dean Mercuries. Well, believe me, a 56 Olds was just as much a part of hot rodding as any of those particular vehicles were. But once again today, I'm starting to have my feelings hurt a little bit. Apparently this gentleman is not familiar with our show at all, and the reason that we know that is his lovely wife is sitting back here, and we never do the shows without the pretty girls. So please, miss, if you would come up here, we would never do this without the man's wife, and those that know our show know that. Please come right on up here. I'm absolutely crushed. I'm absolutely crushed. Oh, I know they never want to be on, but I force them. And you are?
Colleen.
Colleen what?
Cosenza.
And where are you from?
Demat.
And you are?
Jack Cosenza.
Okay, now
also from Demat.
Now, if you knew our show, you know that's the last thing I'm going to talk to you. If you would, please tell the audience about your car.
It's a 56 Old Super 88 Holiday. We bought it the way it is. It's got a Chevy engine.
No.
Yes, that's the bad thing about it.
And you know that's a bad thing.
It's not Olds.
Yeah, and why would that be a bad thing?
It's not Olds.
It destroys the originality, right? Is that correct?
Right.
I'm surprised that you know that's a bad thing. Okay, and what kind of trans then?
I don't know.
What would the Olds have had?
I have no idea.
Hydromatic. What have you got?
It's a Turbo 400. It matches the engine.
Okay, interesting that they would change that to a Chevy engine.
Probably for availability and cost.
Yeah, I suppose because you can get all kinds of parts and stuff for the Chevys and all that.
Chevy parts are very readily available.
You know the one thing that's missing from the car? I'll bet your wife knows.
It's not a convertible. Oh, no.
No, the 56 Olds spinners were icons in the world. Yeah. I'm surprised you don't have those.
Well, because it's got the chromies and the baby moons on it, which makes
it also popular in the era. That's true.
In the era, yeah, they're era correct. So
we should explain to the audience that this is a car that has been customized in the way it would have been done to the mid to the late 50s. When I look at the interior, I see pleated and rolled Naugahyde interior, which is the way it would have been done. The entire car was lowered. It's got the lake pipes. Now, do you know what the lake pipes are?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you know what we used to do with those? Because you guys are too young. I'm trying to just test you here.
That's right.
Do you know what we used to do with those? You know they're exhaust pipes, right?
Right.
And a little cap, and Chuck, if you can come down to the cap, they've got moon eyes on theirs. Mm-hmm. If you come down to the little cap, you know that holds the exhaust in, right?
Right.
Okay, but the cool thing to do was to go to Skips on Friday or Saturday night, and you took the two bolts off, and you turned the thing up 90 degrees, and then put one bolt back in, so the exhaust came out the side. But it wasn't cool if you didn't have the plate still held on by one bolt. Does that make any sense? Because we used to think we impressed the girls with that. Did that impress them? No, they didn't have a clue, right? Yeah, I know. You know what I'm talking about.
young for that, yeah, but I remember that.
You remember it
we
well.
did that, yeah.
Okay. Anything?
I couldn't afford lakes pipes in those days. What we did was welded plumbing pipes on her with a regular pipe cap on it.
Or worse than that, go to Warshawski and get the flex pipe. I did it. Believe me, I did it. Is there anything I haven't noticed about your car that I should have noticed?
No, I think that's it. It's decked and shaved, and it's got the keyless entry. And
what provoked you to want a car like this?
Actually, this car found us. We were looking for a 54 Olds convertible, and when we saw this one, it was kind of it.
It followed us home.
It followed you, but you wanted a convertible.
That would be nice.
Okay, get another one.
We're thinking about it.
Yeah, I hope so. Now, are you having fun with it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoy the car show thing and all that? You have a good time today?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're a good sport. I know I shocked you there. Chuck, show the audience the car. 56 Olds. This was another way of doing hot rodding, and as a matter of fact, if he had the right one, it would be a J2 Olds with 3 two-barrel carburetors from the factory.
We should also say the Regional Streeters Crown Point Car Show also features motorcycles, and Bill found something unique.
Once again, you never know what you're going to run into at the local summer car shows, but I can tell you this, it is a continual delight. And if you just open your eyes a little bit, believe me, it's not just about all cars. We have a really interesting handmade motorcycle in front of us that we're going to find out about. But as Chuck pulls his camera shot back, you can see that there's a matching trailer to haul it in. And then, Chuck, pan over this way because you'll see the car that matches the whole thing. I think I've got it right, and you are.
James Attell.
Where are you from, James?
Shelbyville.
And you are?
Kathy Antel.
His wife?
Yes.
Okay.
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Who can tell me best about the motorcycle?
He can.
He's got to do it?
Yes.
Okay, tell us. What'd you build here?
It's a mini scooter chopper. I got a 70cc dirt bike motor on it. It goes 75 miles an hour.
Did you build the frame?
Yeah, the whole thing.
You built everything?
The whole thing.
What kind of brakes you use?
It's disc brakes.
Yeah, I can see they're disc brakes, but it looks like a dual caliper.
Yeah,
I mean, dual piston.
Front on back. Yeah, it's a.
What were those originally made for? I mean, they look very finished.
What?
The brakes.
Yeah.
I mean, what were they made for originally?
It's for scooters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can buy parts for it, as in a kit. You can build it.
Now, why'd you build something like this?
For fun.
Okay, because you know that you're really too big for it, right?
Yeah.
But apparently you like little cars because the car behind us is what, Dodge Neon?
Yeah, it's a Dodge Neon.
That's also a little car.
Yeah.
And a little trailer.
Cheap on gas.
Is that what it's about?
Yes.
Or do you just kind of like, because our cameraman, Chuck Hitzenthaler, quite frankly, has the world market cornered on Honda 600s. Okay. He just, you know what that is, the little tiny button car?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some people just like little, are you like that? You like the little stuff?
Little stuff, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's pretty cool. Anything I haven't noticed about it you'd like the audience to know that you're particularly proud of?
Red, white, and blue.
I see that your whole theme is American flag theme, and you're a Vietnam vet.
Vietnam vet.
Okay, when were you in Vietnam? 72,
73, and 74.
Oh, what, 3 tours? No, 2 tours?
1 tour.
3 years?
Right at the end of it, yeah.
Because I thought they went for 1 year.
No.
No? Okay. Well, listen, are you having fun today?
Yeah, I have a great time.
Good time? Chuck, once again, show the audience. I want them to know that it's not just about cars, even though if that's all it was, it'd be great. Cars are wonderful. But you never know. Celebrity. We just interviewed a celebrity, and here we've got a really unusual mini motorcycle. There's so many things to see at these local summer car shows, and guess what? They're free. You're cheating yourself if you don't come.
A delightful day in the park is probably the best way to characterize the Crown Point show. We have to hurry though, because we're almost out of time.
There is nothing like these summer car shows. I'd almost forgotten. This is one of the first that we're doing this year. I'd almost forgotten how much fun it is. And Chuck, as you pull your camera shot back, and of course, pretty girls are part of it, street rods are part of it. And give me credit, folks, I'm not going right to the street rods like I would normally do. I promised the regional streeters we would do something other than traditional American street rods. And we have got a great supercharged Corvette here. But before we get to that, come with me, Chuck, because we've got a very talented singing group over here. We've been enjoying their music for quite some time. The problem is we couldn't get our camera to where they were performing, so I says, guys, can you come over here and talk to us? First of all, you are
Jason Andrews.
And
Sherry Roger.
And
Dave Mitchell.
And
George Carl.
And who can speak for the group?
Well, I can speak to the group. Well,
okay, name of the group?
Name of the group is Harbor Lights.
And you guys are a harmonizing group.
We are a doo-wop a cappella vocal group, and we perform without any musical instrumentation, and just use our voices as instruments. And we've been doing it since we were kids growing up in high school, and people that enjoy old cars enjoy this kind of music.
Oh, you're exactly right. It sounds great. Now, I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
I don't know if this is gonna work or not.
Sure.
Can you give us a little bit of a background harmony?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm gonna talk to these folks with the Corvette. Can you do that?
Go ahead.
Okay, please go right ahead. You pick something.
Go into the chapel and we're gonna get married. Go into the chapel and we're gonna get married.
Boy, I hope you guys feel really special now.
We do. We really do. Sure do.
Okay, and folks, we're going to go out on this piece. So first of all, you are?
Kevin Wiggs from DeMont, Indiana.
And you are?
John DePeriac, Hebron, Indiana.
Okay, and as I understand it, this is your car, but he built it?
Yes, sir. My design, my thoughts, and Mo put it all together, and he had some thoughts, and
he did the hammering and sawing.
We come out with a beautiful car.
You sure did. Tell us about it.
It's a 1976 Corvette with a 358 in it. It's got an 871 Holly blower on it. It's got Edelbrock carburetors. It's just a gorgeous street rod. It runs 160, 70 degrees. You drive around town, idle around town with it. Just have a ball with it. Go to the grocery store, whatever you want. It's just a great street rod.
You will forgive me, but you're not 16 years old. Why did you want a car like this?
Well, my son, he's 33, and it's kind of his idea and my idea, and it was really fun to do it with him together. I mean, it's just really made a special bonding.
Is there anything much better than working on a car project with your son?
Oh, other than working with Mo and my son, all three together, it was just like heaven.
I'll tell you something, it makes it all worthwhile. It really is. What are you particularly proud of on the car? What did you do that you like the best?
I'm really proud of everything, the way it turned out. It's just a beautiful car, and it's a lot of fun to play with, and I'm just really thrilled with it, you know. And it was a great pleasure to work with Kevin on it. You know, he made things easy for me.
Sounds like you guys really know how to have fun.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, listen, thanks for spending a little time. I want the audience to get a little taste of Harbor Lights. Please don't run away.
Be lonely anymore, because we're going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Gee, I really love you and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel of love. Yeah, 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 yeah. Going to the chapel of love. Yeah, 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 yeah. Going to the chapel of love.
All right.
Thank you.
The Regional Streeters Crown Point, Indiana Car Show is a must-attend event. We hope you enjoyed our quick peek because we're out of time with only enough left to acknowledge the fine work of our award-winning production team, including Chuck Itzenthaler, Sue Casanda, our webmaster Frank Barbalace, Rena Borwitz, and Tom McGrady. Special thanks to JBTV's Jerry Bryant. Music is created for us by independent artists Roger Pauley and Jerry Herbert. Of course, we have to take a moment to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Janine Lauschat, Patty Borwitz, and our host, Bill Wildt. Me, I'm Samantha Bentley, reminding you we can only provide a small taste when we visit local summer car shows. To really enjoy them, you have to attend in person. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
This program made possible in part by support from PB Food Products, located on 47th Street at Western Avenue in Chicago, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wildt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade, held on Western Avenue in Chicago, the first Sunday in December.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grand Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, it's another great classic car show. This time it's Skip's Reunion. Everybody in Chicagoland remembers Skip's. It was American graffiti, Chicago style. It's long gone now, but not forgotten, as Joe Billow created the Skip's Reunion car show and swap meet that assures we don't forget. All next week on Motorsports Unlimited.
So that's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited and the lovely ladies of motorsports. And be with us next week because we'll have something real exciting. Bill Wildt's going to have the lovely ladies, and just about anything can happen right here on Motorsports Unlimited. Every week at this time, we bring you the best in motorsports. So be seeing ya. Bye-bye. And keep on rocking.